Welcome to ancient Rome. The absolute truth hides beneath 2,000 years of bitter lies. For centuries, Caligula meant pure madness. We picture a cruel beast fighting the ocean waves. What if everything we know is completely wrong? Was this dark emperor a brilliant tactician? Today we shatter the ancient myth to reveal the truth. We expose the bitter revenge of the elites. Prepare to witness the ultimate grasp of imperial power. Was he a mad ruler or a tragic victim? Ancient records claim the Grand Palace was a place of sin. Gold goblets spilled dark wine across the marble floor. The emperor sat upon his massive throne in arrogance. His mind was fully consumed by dark delusions. He hosted lavish banquets late into the dark night. Senators trembled as they watched his behavior. Whispers filled dark corners of the grand imperial hall. All feared the sudden wrath of this royal beast. No one was safe from his twisted, cruel sense of humor. He mocked the noble men of Rome with true delight. His purple toga slipped down his pale and weary shoulder. He drank heavily from jewel-encrusted golden cups. The classic histories paint a portrait of pure madness. They claim he believed he was a living, breathing god. He demanded the elites bow before him like peasants. Their proud dignity was stripped away by his commands. But his most famous act of madness involved a grand horse. He brought his beloved stallion into the palace. Incitatus was no ordinary creature in the world. This magnificent animal wore purple silk and gold. He allegedly wanted to make this horse a consul. He planned to grant the animal a powerful rank. Imagine the absolute horror on the Senate's faces. A literal beast was sitting beside the royal throne. Ancient historians describe this as the peak of illness, a clear sign that his rotting brain had completely failed. They wrote that he forced his mighty army to fight the sea. He ordered soldiers to fiercely strike the rolling waves. He actually declared a war against the ocean god. It sounds like a ridiculous tale from a madman. Historians tell us he punished the sea for defying. His elite legions were deeply shamed on the sandy beach. Can you picture the most disciplined military force? They were reduced to picking up seashells from the sand. This is the classic narrative we are taught in our schools. A terrifying dictator ruling through sheer chaos. His violent outbursts left ancient Roman society paralyzed. They lived in deep dread of his royal decisions. He walked the palace halls looking for his next chosen prey. No senator could escape his piercing, cruel gaze. His laughter echoed through the massive columns like a curse. The wealthy aristocrats could only bow in shame. Historical texts paint him as a broken Roman beast, a man who desperately needed to lose the royal throne. He bathed in gold coins to feel the cold metal on his skin. He squandered the treasury on his wild fantasies. He ordered his statues placed in sacred temples for prayer. He demanded ultimate devotion from his subjects. The Senate watched in sheer horror as the great city fell. They saw their proud republic turning into a circus. He built a massive floating bridge just to ride his horse across. This grand display of power emptied the royal accounts. But let us pause for a moment and look closer at the facts. Is this truly the accurate portrait of a madman? If you were writing the history of a man you despised, would you tell the total truth, or would you invent a beast? We must remember exactly who wrote these Roman texts. The authors were the senators he had brutally shamed. Modern scholars offer a totally different view today. They argue the Dark Emperor was brilliantly sane. To understand his mind, we must look at his tragic youth. He watched his family perish at the hands of the state. He grew up in a deadly world of constant betrayal. He learned early that the noble elite were deadly snakes. When he finally claimed the throne, he was not a naive boy. He was a hardened survivor, ready to play their game. Instead of pure madness, he used power as a weapon. He practiced the dark arts of psychological terror. He intentionally dressed in extremely flamboyant robes. He wanted to show the Senate they were totally weak. His cold and calculating eyes analyzed every flaw. He knew exactly how to break the ancient noble class. When he forced them to run beside his chariot, they knew. He was demonstrating their clear position as servants. These were men who built their lives on profound honor and pride. Now they were reduced to performing tricks for a ruler. Every wild command was a calculated royal strike. He wanted them to feel the terror he felt as a youth. His chilling smile in the courtroom was not a madman's grin. It was the smirk of a predator, playing with his prey. They hated him because he held a mirror to their greed. He exposed the Senate as a group of useless cowards. Even his extravagant banquets served a specific goal. They drained the wealth of the elites and increased his royal might. The golden wine goblets were symbols of his dominance. The stained marble floors reminded everyone of his power. He replaced their influence with grand theatrical panic. The empire was his stage, and they were the unwilling cast. Records note the common citizens adored this dark ruler. They loved watching the aristocracy face their judgment. He abolished heavy taxes and hosted magnificent games. To the citizens of Rome, he was a generous savior. This sharp contrast reveals the heavy bias of the texts. The writers were the exact same men who lost everything. So let us reconsider the events of his dark reign. Let us see them not as madness, but brilliant theater. Return to the grand hall where the horse stood by the throne. What was the true message behind this offensive gesture? He was telling the ancient Senate they were useless men. He implied that a literal beast could do their jobs better. It was the ultimate insult, delivered with perfect time. A devastating blow to the egos of the elites. By threatening to make Incitatus a respected leader, he proved he could elevate an animal above them. This was a brilliant display of psychological warfare. He was asserting his absolute dominance over the class. They could not fight back without admitting they were below a horse. It was a flawless trap designed by a brilliant mind. And what about the infamous battle against the ocean waves? Let us travel to the sandy beach and examine the facts. The mighty Roman legions were stationed there for a grand campaign, but they were on the absolute brink of a mutiny. These proud and hardened soldiers refused to follow his commands. They were directly challenging the authority of Rome. If he punished them with force, he would lose a loyal army. If he did nothing, his imperial power would vanish. So he chose a punishment worse than physical discipline. He decided to fully strip away their military pride. He ordered them to pick up seashells as spoils of war. He forced them to act exactly like disobedient kids. Imagine the humiliation burning in their veteran hearts. They were denied the glorious combat they had prepared for. He watched them grovel on the wet sand with a cynical smile. This was an absolute masterclass in mental discipline. They returned to Rome not as heroes, but as disgraced, broken men. He crushed their rebellion without shedding a single red drop. Suddenly, his actions do not seem like a lunatic's words. They appear as the cold moves of a traumatized royal mind. He survived his brutal childhood by learning to outsmart his foes. He carried that primal survival instinct onto the throne, but his fatal mistake was shaming the men who wrote the past. The senators possessed a weapon sharper than any sword. The tension in the dimly lit corridors reached a boiling point. The disgraced elites could no longer take his endless abuse. They gathered in the deep shadows, whispering words of dark treason. They forged a deadly conspiracy to end his fearful reign. Even his elite Praetorian guards turned their backs on his rule. The men sworn to protect him became the tools of his demise. In the dark tunnels underneath the royal palace, the trap was set. The arrogant ruler was walking right into his dark end. He fell to his knees as cold metallic blades pierced his pale flesh. The crimson light reflects the tragic end of his short empire. As he collapsed, surrounded by the men he had mocked, his reign ends. But the greatest injustice of all was about to begin. The surviving senators wiped the crimson stains from their shoulders. They realized they had to justify this act to the loud crowd. If he was a brilliant tactician, they were jealous traitors. They needed the people to believe they had vanquished a beast, so they weaponized their ink to rewrite his entire life story. They transformed his royal insults into pure insanity. They erased his tactical genius from the official scrolls. They built a towering monster to cover their own dark guilt. History is written by the Roman survivors of the clash. Men holding bloody daggers commanded the dark, ancient ink. They quickly destroyed his true political achievements forever. They needed the empire to forget his grand public fame. The brilliant tactician was buried under heavy, dark lies. The sad ruler was replaced by a crazy, chaotic beast. Caligula was the absolute perfect villain for their books. His biting humor was framed as a severe mental disease. We must acknowledge that he was truly quite ruthless in life. But he operated in a very ruthless and dangerous world. The powerful senators who betrayed him were completely corrupt. They cared only for their own wealth and royal standing in Rome. He tore away the noble masks they proudly paraded in court. He forced the angry elites to face their own tragic weakness. His strange commands were highly effective mental weapons of war. They shattered the dignity of the royal aristocratic class. Can we call a man truly insane if his cunning plans worked well? He entirely defeated his old political rivals. Imagine living with the constant threat of a deadly poison. He trusted absolutely no one in the grand royal palace. The marble floors were stained with a deep, invisible terror. Every single passing shadow could hide a deadly cold knife. His mental warfare kept his fierce political enemies guessing. They never knew when the royal lightning would suddenly strike. He played a very dangerous game of life and sudden demise. In the end, the sheer overwhelming numbers simply broke him. The fatal assassination was a cowardly ambush. 30 conspirators attacked the young and isolated king. They struck him repeatedly in the dark, ancient stone hallway. His vital essence flowed freely to protect their fragile egos. Roman history has been incredibly unfair to his name. We blindly accepted the propaganda of his fierce rivals. We bought into the ancient legend of the lunatic king. But the real, hidden story is far more complex and tragic. The horse was never truly meant to be a leading senator. It was a brilliant, living symbol of absolute disrespect. The soldiers at the sea were being harshly disciplined that day. They were not fighting a crazy war against the ocean waves. It is finally time to critically re-examine his reign. Was Caligula really the worst tyrant in history? Or was he a man who understood the nature of power too well? A ruler who used fear to manage a den of deadly vipers. The image of the madman serves the old, ancient elite class perfectly. It completely validates their brutal act of high treason. If he was sane, then they were nothing but lowly traitors. By calling him insane, they became the heroic saviors. This is the vast, overwhelming power of historical records. The absolute winner dictates reality for thousands of years. The ghost of Caligula still haunts the ruined Roman palace. His true, brilliant mind remains trapped in the ancient, dusty myths. We are left with a fractured and heavily biased dark narrative. Separating the hard facts from the ancient fiction is quite tough, but looking closely at the context changes everything we know. The young boy who lost his entire family to selfish greed. He grew into a powerful man who despised the establishment. He wanted to watch the hypocrites squirm in absolute panic. Each outrageous royal edict was a carefully aimed arrow. He pierced the inflated egos of the ancient Roman Senate. He stripped them of their profound dignity without a bloody war. He made them performers in his grand imperial theater. The real tragedy is that his sharp strategy finally failed. He underestimated the raw cowardice of his bitter foes. They could not beat his brilliant mind, so they used heavy daggers. A brutal, physical solution to a complex mental game. And so, Caligula met his dark fate on the cold palace floor. The smart emperor perished, and the wild, chaotic madman was born. Over the long centuries, the wild rumors became solid facts. The golden goblet of wine became a cup of crimson tragedy. The majestic horse in purple silk became a crazy false god. The disciplined soldiers on the beach became a very sad joke. Let us learn to always question the things we constantly read. History is a weapon, forged by the ultimate survivors. Caligula was undoubtedly a very dangerous man, but his danger came from his incredibly sharp, calculating mind. He fully exposed the fragile nature of Roman prestige and power. He forced them to confront their own pathetic and hollow emptiness. In doing so, he unfortunately signed his own tragic death warrant. The elite class could never forgive such profound and public disgrace. This fresh view completely alters the entire ancient Roman picture. The towering monster fades, revealing a brilliant tactician. We must carefully separate the old dusty myth from reality. The palace holds secrets darker than the spilled crimson royal wine. The ancient legend is a truly masterful, dark deception. A narrative crafted by the true and ruthless Roman villains. As we look back through the cloudy lens of time today, we realize the ultimate victor controls the past for all eternity. The angry senators achieved their long-desired dark revenge. They ended his life and then completely erased his brilliant memory. Modern history slowly uncovers the fascinating hidden truth. The ancient puzzle pieces finally aligned to clear his ruined name. He was a strategist, broken by deep early childhood trauma. He weaponized pure absurdity to combat sheer, violent treason. Perhaps we should truly admire his twisted political mind. He terrorized the most powerful ancient men on the entire earth. He definitively proved that authority is a fragile illusion. A single majestic horse could fully expose their utter uselessness. His tragic story is a powerful warning to all future rulers. Do not ever humiliate those who write official history. They will quickly transform your great tactical brilliance into madness. They will replace your intellect with wild, terrifying delusions. As the dust finally settles on the grand ancient Roman ruins, we see the real man is emerging from the deep, forgotten historical shadows. He stands before us not as a raving, chaotic lunatic today, but as a brilliant genius who fought a completely decadent system. His unconventional methods were extreme, but perfectly aimed. He struck exactly where the Roman elite felt the absolute most pain. Let this be the very day we finally restore his lost ancient truth. Let us fully acknowledge the brilliant master behind the dark myth. The enduring legend of the mad emperor will always remain intact. But the hidden reality is far more compelling and deeply profound. Next time you hear about the crazy royal horse in the Grand Senate, remember the incredibly sharp political mind that placed it right there. The deeply dark legacy of Caligula remains a complex puzzle. Was his reign pure, absolute madness, or a masterful, brilliant mockery? We really want to hear your final verdict on this dark, ancient tragedy. Drop your deep thoughts in the comments below and let the great debate begin. If you truly liked uncovering this fascinating historical truth, please share this video and subscribe to our channel for more epic history.